Hello, everybody, and welcome to the top 5 new comics for May 28th and 29th of 2024. I am, as always, Chris, and boy, do we have quite the list this week. And we're going to get started with Ultimate Spider-Man number 5. This is written by Jonathan Hickman with art by David Messina, colors by Matt Wilson, and letters by Corey Pettit. So, I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man has been so awesome. Having Hickman on a book like this has been such a pleasure. The original Ultimate Universe is so important to me, how much I enjoyed it. And to get a rebirth of it, we've talked a lot about the Ultimate line on this series of videos and what it is, what it could have been, all these things. But at the end of the day, what we have right now is a very strong alternate universe, Marvel universe that is doing some cool and new and different things. And the Spider-Man book in particular, being written by one of the best in the business, Jonathan Hickman, has been just this weird pleasure where very little Spider-Man has happened, but at the same time, it's been every issue has had these like cool moments where it just changes Spider-Man lore altogether and doing something completely different. And last issue, we got the meeting between Peter and Harry, and in another turn, Spider-Man and Green Goblin, and what their dynamic is starting off in this world, and that's not as foes, it is as potential friends. And kind of the big bombshell that Harry is dating Gwen Stacy and all of these different things that are going on. So for this issue, we're going to get the origin, the history of Harry, and kind of learn where he's coming from in this universe, because he's obviously not the same Harry we know in the regular Marvel universe and all that. So I'm really excited to dive further into the series. It's just, the Ultimate line is strong, very strong, everybody, and you should definitely be checking it out. So after that, I've got Avengers Twilight number 6. This is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Daniel Acuna and letters by Corey Pettit. This is, I can confirm, the final issue of Avengers Twilight, and this book's been a blast. I don't know how Chip continues to create great books, like in a way that like nobody else is doing right now. I can't think of a single book he's involved with that I don't enjoy in some way. He's really at kind of the peak of his career right now, where everything is hitting on all cylinders, and I love that. I love that he's very agnostic with what he's doing too. Like, he's got this great crime book that just ended up in New Bern. He's got the public domain book that he's bringing back here soon. He's doing stuff over at DC with Batman, and over here with Avengers. He had the great a list goes on, the stuff he's doing, and it's not in one spot. It's all over the place with different companies and different ideas and different genres at that. He's got the White Tree books that he's doing that are just these grand fantasy books. I love that there's a creator out there, a writer out there, that when I see his name, I don't think of a style. Like, I love an Ed Brubaker, but I know I'm going to get Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips book. It's going to be a crime noir book, and I'm going to love the fuck out of it. And that's great. But it's also awesome that there's this creator named Chip Zdarsky out there that I see his name on a project, and I don't know what it's going to be, but I know one thing: it means quality, and that's the big deal here. So we've got Avengers Twilight ending up this kind of alternate future Avengers where, you know, superheroes are not really seeing the great light, and now they're coming back as older men and women and having to fight back against the tyranny that ends up being an old foe at that. And we can see on this, we've got Hulk on the cover. It's been kind of an ongoing thing where the character on the cover really shows up in the issue in some way. So we haven't seen Hulk yet, and I'll be interested to see how he brings him in as a part of the finale of this series. Being the ending, I understand it's a terrible time to jump in on a book. I always do this series to say what are the books I'm most like, what are the top 5 that I'm going to pick, grab, and read right away when I go to the comic shop. But it's also a way to spotlight great books that are out there, or that great books I believe will be great that are out there. And this one, unless they completely flummox the ending, is one you should definitely go check out and trade if you weren't reading week to week, because it's just so good. It's that good. It's so fucking good. After that, I've got Black Panther Blood Hunt #1. This is written by Lynn Eaton with art by Artist-Frid Karami. This Blood, people might think, since restarting the series, that I'm just a sucker for events. And in a way I am. Like, I try every event book that DC and Marvel do. I love event books. I think they're some of the most fun we can have in comics. They're not always the best we get in comics. And while I don't think Blood Hunt's this great book that we can put up on a pedestal with Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen or anything like that, I love vampire stories, and I love the Marvel Universe. And Blood Hunt gave me both. And it's been so much fun jumping into the series. And what I love is it's one of those events that really has sucked me into some of the side stories. And that is rare for me these days. Like, you need to do a lot to get me excited for side books and tie-in books and all this stuff. And Blood Hunt's done it. This one in particular, I was really excited for when it got announced, because just the idea of T'Challa, Black Panther, as a vampire, like him going out there and doing vampire stuff, like what's that gonna be? And it's also the fun of it is how, like, do we continue with Black Panther as a vampire after this, or how do we put the genie back in the bottle? It can be half the fun as well. So I'm just really excited for this book because I'm really enjoying Blood Hunt. I think it's a great event book, just a lot of fun, a lot of carnage, and it's got some cool side books that just seem like a lot of fun. The ones I've read so far I've really loved. Like Union Jack the Ripper was great. The Blood Hunters book was great. Even the Avengers series, when we did the tie-in stuff and all that, all great. Blood Hunt's running all cylinders. This is what I want event books to be. I want them to be fun. I want them to be expansive and just throw out cool, fun, goofy ideas at times. Like, just do cool things. And just, listen, Black Panther is a vampire. Like, it just, if that cover doesn't sell you, if the idea doesn't sell you, I don't know, maybe you don't like vampires. Maybe that's it. But I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to diving into it. After that, got Batman Dark Age #3. This is written by Mark Russell with art by Michael Allred with colors by Laura Allred. So we had the Superman book, which was the Space Age book, and then this came out, the Batman Dark Age book. And these first 2 issues have been really fun. Anyone that knows me or follows me deeply knows that, like, origin stories aren't my thing. Like, at this point, I feel like most, especially, let's be specific, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, like, it's pop culture at this point. We don't need to retell it. I'm a little more forgiving if, like, you want to do a Booster Gold movie. Like, yeah, you should probably tell the origin. But Batman Dark Age, at its core, was an origin story. But it flipped the origin on its head. So it was still like, you know, Bruce's parents die and he goes through a transformation. But the transformation is very different in this. And what I found interesting is another criticism I have a lot is like, it's a Batman book. We haven't seen a whole lot of Batman yet. Issue 2 really did bring the idea of Batman into the fold a lot more, and especially in the second half of the book. But that first issue, man, you only see him for a couple panels. So to hook me into a Batman book like that shows how good and special it is. And then just Mark Russell. Mark Russell is a very talented writer who gets, and of his own volition, gets roped into this. He's the political comics guy, and he does do that a lot. But when he steps away from that genre and does these cool, fun superhero books, which Superman Space Age was, which his Wonder Twins run, like one of the best runs of comics I can remember in recent memories. Like, and it's a Wonder Twins book. When he steps away from that and just tells great stories, he's one of the best. And that's not to shy away from his political stuff. I enjoy his political comics too. You can agree or disagree with them. They're just well done as well, and great just commentary. I mean, I also always bring up his Flintstones book, which is a huge meta commentary on middle class life in America. All that aside, this one kind of has steered clear of a lot of that and just told this really fun, unique, different Batman story. And if you don't know Michael and Laura Allred by this point, like, what have you been doing? This is hands down some of their best work. I have really, really enjoyed all the art in this series. Like, I'm a huge Michael, Laura Allred fan. I think these two have made some of my favorite comics of all time. Every time I see them on a title, I'm picking it up. It doesn't matter what it is. And that's a rare thing for me to do for an artist. And this has been just a blast. So everybody should, we're on issue 3. I think it's a 4-issue series. Try to find the first 2 issues and jump into it. It is well worth a read. And after that, we got Coins of Judas the Gambler, #1. This is written by Travis Gibb with art by Roland Kalnins and letters by Jerome Ganon. I guess I should say up ahead, Travis is a friend, so I guess take that for what it is. That being said, I have a lot of friends that work in comics, and I don't put all of their books on this top 5 list, and I don't review all of their books, and I don't necessarily like all their books. That being said, when Coins of Judas was the first volume was done with Tyler Carpenter, I very much enjoyed the book. Like, Travis had it was a 2-issue series. He had a cool little thing he wanted to do, and it really dug deep in some Christian lore and mixed that in with like action horror. It was just a good time all around. That, me saying that, you can go back to an interview I did. There was a kerfuffle with the artist. And that's another thing, like the publisher, I'm not a huge fan of because of that kerfuffle. But they came back. Tyler gave his blessing to continue Coins of Judas. We've got Roland Kalnins on it. It looks like he's doing a great job on the art. And we're back with the Gambler. So the second volume, or as I'm really seeing it, the 3rd issue. I think a lot of small publishers are seeing that it's hard for smaller creators to do longer form stories and comics. So to do 4 or 5 issues can be tough. So why not rebrand it with #1 or do it as one shot or so on and so forth. All this makes sense. Even big names have troubles with people dropping off their books after issue 1. It's just the nature of the business. And really look forward to this book coming back, because I think it's one of Travis's best books. And it's one of the few that he didn't do through any kind of crowdfunding. He strictly made this book and sold it to a publisher. And while it's not my favorite book of his, it is probably in the top 3. And to get in a direct market hopefully shows that more people will have their hands on it. And if at the end of the day, like, if you just enjoy a good action book with cool, like, demonic beings and whatnot, this is a great book for you. It just shows a lot of promise for a bigger story if people keep buying it. And Travis is a good dude. Travis is somebody that is passionate about comics, and to see him get a book like this that people are really enjoying warms my heart. So I hope y'all check out Coins of Judas. And if, like I said, this feels like issue 3 of a series, really. So I don't know how. I gotta assume he's going to do a good job of bringing new readers back in. But he has also extended plans for a trade paperback when this is done, because I believe this is another 2-issue arc, and we'll have a trade paperback all 4 issues. That's not a great way to jump on board this book. But yeah, Coins of Judas is, the first volume was a blast. Great 2 issues. I'm just excited to see it back with a new volume. And I think y'all should check it out. And with that, that is it. Everybody, if you want to support me and the show, best ways to do it are to like, subscribe, share, comment down below. And as many YouTubers say, smash that like button. Or go over to chriscomicscorner.substack.com, where I do all my reviews. I do the Retro Reread series, where right now we're in the middle of Rom the Space Knight from Marvel Comics. I do the crowdfunding spotlight. We just spotlit series Death Transit Tanager from Carl Kerschel. Great book. Currently running on Kickstarter, so you should definitely check that out. And then also, if you want to see more of me or hear more of me, my podcast I host with my friend Mike, Fortress Comic News, where we have all kinds of comic creators on to talk about the books that they're working on. People from all the way up at Marvel, DC, top of their game, to people trying to kickstart their first comic. We talk to them all and try to get behind like what the books are about, put some spotlight on some cool comics, and hopefully get in the minds of some of these creators a little bit as well. So that's definitely worth checking out, and checking on whatever podcast platform you enjoy. So thank you all so much for watching this week, and we'll see y'all here next week.